What's going on, housemates? This is Marcelo. I am recording this video after Arsenal's 1-0 loss to Newcastle at St. James's Park. It's the second consecutive season where we've lost to Newcastle away with the same scoreline as well. And I have to admit, it's a pretty concerning result. You know, yes, on paper we created more XG and had a lot of shots, but that's feels very irrelevant right now because it's not as though we had so many clear chances or we looked inspired in attack. I think we sort of fell for the same trap, or Newcastle had the same approach and we seemed to just go with the flow. Um, Almost hoping they would do something different, or that by really sticking with the same plan, we would somehow have a different outcome. We were outplayed physically, tactically. Eddie Howe set Newcastle up well, and we didn't seem to have much of a response. And it's concerning because that's 8 points that we've dropped now in the last 3 games. And we've left ourselves in a really difficult position for the rest of the season because we can't really afford to drop many more points if we want any chance of winning the league. Just knowing what Manchester City is and what they do, and how good Liverpool have looked this season. Given that obviously this is Arne Slot's first season, but they still only lost 1 game. Yes, they play against Brighton shortly, but they're at home. We'll see how that result goes. But, it just, we shouldn't be looking that short of inspiration, of a spark, you know? Again, we didn't have an out and out creative midfielder. And yes, with Newcastle being a physical team, and I don't want to be lazy just calling them physical, but they are a physical team, right? They're high intensity. We know Bruno Guimaraes is a madman in midfield, and they have strength in general. So yes, I understand starting Leandro Trossard, but he's not a guy who's going to pick a pass or drive out a defense through midfield in the way that Ethan Nwaneri is capable of. And this isn't the first time I've talked about this, right? But with Martin Odegaard still not back fit, I don't want to make too big a talking point of Nwaneri first coming in the 60th odd minute, although that is a big step for him. That's by far the biggest amount of minutes that he's played in 1 game in the Premier League. And this is only a few days after he played most of the Carabao Cup, of course, against Preston. But I wonder, had he started, maybe would we have been more on the front foot from the get-go? The goal we conceded was so easy, for Anthony Gordon. To be fair, he played in a great cross, but it's just so direct. And with 2 aerially dominant center backs, tall center backs like Gabriel and Saliba, you have to question how Isak's able to just sort of find the space in between them and really go uncontested for a simple enough header to open the scoring early on. And we just didn't have an answer, man. And it is really concerning because you have to wonder, will things change quickly and dramatically enough when Odegaard's back, when Calafiori's back, if and when Tomiyasu's back? It feels like a bit of a warning sign, right? And I'm not trying to get carried away, but again, if we don't come away with any silverware this season, and if we even slightly fall off the pace in the title race, that could be a warning sign of something greater, a bigger issue at hand, And then you start to worry a little bit about the big players in this project, and when are they going to start to lose a little faith in what we're building here? When do they start to maybe get their heads turned by other clubs and think, will I have a much better chance of winning silverware sooner if I go elsewhere? You have to think maybe, right? So it's not time. It's not panic settings yet. I don't think. Although just based on the initial, 30 minutes of comments on my full time posts on Instagram, that is where a lot of us are at, and I understand completely. I'm just trying to stay level headed through it all and keep things in perspective. We still have 28 games to go. There's so many twists and turns left to come. We haven't, without Odegaard, we just haven't been the same. And he's coming back very soon. And Calafiori really offered a whole new dimension in attack for us that we just haven't had at left back in his absence. Urian Timber fills in well, but he's just not as effective from there. He's much more effective as a right back. And obviously, Ben White seldom puts a foot wrong. He never puts a foot wrong, so it's hard to justify benching him. So, these injuries have put us in a tough spot. We've obviously played 3 games with, you know, 10 men for a full half, more or less. But again, this is me starting to fall into that loophole of excuses, or that cycle of excuses. And we just can't be doing that if we want to finally break through to the next level. And so I am nervous. I am on edge. I really hope we can snap out of this funk. We have Inter in the Champions League next, and then we go to Chelsea, you know? And that's going to be another really tough game. Chelsea's looked really strong this season. And so it's a huge test for us. These next, 10 days or so, whatever it is. Yeah, about 10 days is going to be really difficult. And so no, it's a week. So, and then the international break. Um so I don't have too many words of optimism for you right now, folks. I'm feeling as uneasy as a lot of you are. I'm not feeling quite as pessimistic, just because I try to stay conscious of my emotional self and the weight of these results and what they feel like. But it's hard to really find a light at the end of the tunnel right now. And so time will tell. But we really got to hope that Odegaard's back soon. You got to wonder if maybe Ethan Waneri just has to be unleashed and set free to do his thing. He didn't do too much after he came on, but he did have a couple bright moments. I mean, he got a shot off. He had that one really nice Maradona, the roulette that he did to shield the ball and keep it, and keep a play alive and get the ball into space. So yeah, man, I don't want to keep rambling on and falling into the same loop here, but something's got to give. Arteta's got to find some new inspiration for the squad. The players have to find that impetus, find that spark that we're lacking right now. Even in the absence of Odegaard, we can't be blaming it all on one player's unavailability. So, time will tell. And make sure that you're tuning in to the Vanger's House YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications as I continue to just speak my mind on here, just like all of you. And please do get in the comments and share with me how you're feeling. Let me know if I'm being too nonchalant about it, or if, the red flags or the smoke screens are a lot bigger than I'm making them out to be. But until next time, folks, take it easy and come on, you Gunners. Peace, everybody.